Well, hi, it's Peter Irvine again. We now move in our series of connecting faith to business and church and life to the book of 1 Kings, and also 1 King and 2 Kings follow a similar theme, but we'll get to 2 Kings in the next series. So I've titled this video, Leadership with a Purpose. You see, you can be a leader or perceive to be a leader, but not actually bring about change in the right way, not build a team, not bring about success in a business or a church. And 1 King, has so many kings, and you thought they would have known better because they had good kings that they could look back to and see what they did right and could copy it, or they had bad kings of what they did and the result and could learn from it. But we don't seem to want to learn from the past. And here we see by the end of 1 Kings that the nation which was one is divided. And they're both at war internally, which is a disaster for a business or a church, and externally. They had opposition coming in from other sources as well, other nations. And, there was potentially for each of these nations to be great leaders because there was some heritage they could go back and actually look at. What were the lessons? What were the learning from other people? There was so much potential the nation had. There was so much resources, and there was so much capability that God had given them. And like many leaders in all parts of business and church, the leaders, most of them got distracted by selfishness, by job protection, by jealousy, but most of all, they'd forgotten that God had actually given them the vision, the plan for the nation, the resources, and the power. They had all the things they needed to become powerful and to be effective and to go forward and grow. Doesn't this sound like the business that you come across today or you hear about today, and churches that you hear about? They have success, they have a vision and they have a plan, but somewhere in that journey something wedges in and gets them off track. So don't allow a wedge, which could be strife, jealousy, money, the wrong people, and don't allow those things to get in and create a wedge that stops you going forward, taking that business and that church forward. So learn from both the good and bad leaders of the past. When I was in the advertising agency, I could see leaders of various departments and even other agencies that I knew who were bad leaders, and the impact it had on the business and on their clients and on their staff, and morale was terrible. But then I saw what a good leader did and how they engage with people and build them up. And we're going to see something that in the second video, next lesson that we do. And, I saw the right people, and I said to myself when I was young, this was my school, my training, I thought, I've got to start doing some of the things these good leaders are doing and start to see what results that bring. And I could see building a team that were loyal and committed despite what difficulties we may have gone through, and were able to build great departments and eventually a great advertising agency. So don't just become a leader because you want a title, a salary, or you want to be higher up the pecking order, that you want recognition and you want status, but become a leader with a purpose. Just getting these other things, you'll fall as fast as you went up if you get to the stage of actually going up. So, don't become a business that starts big and becomes small. I've seen way too many times when a small-minded person or a small thinker turns a big business into a small business. And when you discover that's the issue, it's way too late to rectify that problem. The next video will provide some of the lessons to becoming a leader with a purpose. When you look at all these kings, and it's well worth reading 1 and 2 Kings, when the kings, and there weren't many of them, followed God's directions and experienced his blessing, they went forward, the nation went forward, and they were happy places. But those who didn't, who ignored God, ignored the blessings that he came, it's easy to forget. And the consequences, the bad consequences that came with that, brought a demoralized nation. They weren't loyal, they were fearful, and therefore the nations didn't grow and produce. And in fact, these kings ended terrible deaths at the end of their lives, short lives. They didn't live a full life. The things that happened to them, even from their own family within those nations. So have a look at that, because you need to be a leader with a purpose.